Despite the general election, the Post Office inquiry has been ongoing, and today there's a report that that Second Sight was interfered with, that efforts were made to subvert the process of Second Sight's investigation. The scandal surrounding the Horizon IT system has been ongoing for a significant time. It's been a subject of regular updates in Private Eye, going back long before any of the mainstream media were interested. And it's about serious allegations of miscarriages of justice and improper behaviour by the Post Office and by the people who were leading the Post Office, and indeed by ministers overseeing that, including the leader of the Lib Dem, who looks very cosy, dropping into the water here, falling off a slide there, Ed Davey. The background of the problem is the Horizon IT system itself. It's a second system which is faulty, used by the Post Office for managing its financial transactions in branches, and the alleged discrepancies led to false accusations of theft and fraud against hundreds of sub-postmasters between 1999 and 2010. So the question, so anybody can make a mistake, but the question is whether or not the Post Office Limited was aware of these mistakes and tried to correct them or tried to cover them up. The Second Sight organization was an independent firm commissioned by the Post Office in 2012 to investigate the claims that these discrepancies were due to faults in the Horizon system rather than to criminal activity by the sub-postmasters. And Ian Henderson, a forensic accountant at Second Sight, testified today that the Post Office obstructed their investigations. And he said that the Post Office withheld documents and attempted to steer Second Sight away from uncovering potential miscarriages of justice. And he accused the Post Office CEO herself, Paula Vennells, of prioritizing the protection of the Post Office, of preserving the integrity of its brand over supporting sub-postmasters who were wrongly convicted and wrongly accused and wrongly imprisoned. So by 2015, Henderson and his colleagues believed they were dealing with a cover-up and possibly a criminal conspiracy within the Post Office, and they have alleged that the Post Office was aware of the systemic issues which the Horizon system had manifested, was showing, but they failed to address them. They persisted with the unjust prosecutions, convictions, and the severe consequences for the sub-postmasters, including the bankruptcies, the suicides, the incarcerations, and the failure of people's marriages and personal lives. So the inquiry has been hearing testimonies and evidence, and its aim is to uncover the truth behind these allegations. But of course, it really is a sort of pantomime that's just delaying the process of reparation and legal justice. It's investigating not only the technical failures of the Horizon system, but also the Post Office's handling of the situation. But what it doesn't seem to be doing is holding the higher levels of political authority to account. It's looking at obstruction and obfuscation and misconduct, but it may be contributing to those as well. And the revelations from the inquiry certainly could have significant legal and reputational repercussions for the post office if substantiated. The allegations of obstruction, of cover-up, of unjust prosecution could lead to legal cases being brought, to challenges to compensation claims, to potential changes in the leadership and organizational practice of the post office. But I think there will be a race to avoid real responsibility. And the inquiry itself is all about kicking the can down the road. Because of the film on ITV, the scandal has now attracted serious public and political attention, with calls for accountability and justice for all those who've been wrongfully affected. But will this shape a future commitment to transparency, or is this the method by which governments will henceforward delay the process of real justice? Because this is not the answer. This is a sticking plaster and a sort of slowed down alarm clock, and it's all played out in public, yes, but the only people who are profiting from this, it seems, are the legal firms that are managing the inquiry. The sub-postmasters, it's they should have been exonerated. They should have been compensated years ago. And the inquiry seems to have delayed that process. And proper prosecution should have been brought, and proper decisions should be made to ensure that this sort of thing doesn't happen again. Maybe that third point is what this inquiry is trying to do. But I'm not sure. I think the biggest problem is that the inquiry itself is not really sure what it's doing itself, and it's just stomping around in the mud. It's a performance.